Yeah, so I turned 40 this year. My birthday is January 1st, so I experience time in only one way. There's the passage of time for my birthday, and there's the passage of time through the years, and it's the same for me. I don't know what it is for you. I realized at a certain point that not everyone experienced time in such a like lockstep fashion, but I turned 40. I wasn't like a big freak out about it or anything, though I did work to get some stuff done before I turned 40. Um, when I turned 30, like I knew my big boy job was coming, so there wasn't like a freak out towards that. It seemed like my career was gonna solidify into something that could support a family and buy the house I'm in and all that stuff, and that ended up being right. Turning 40 10 years later, there's some stuff I wanted to do, and there's some things that I definitely feel like have changed recently when it comes to like interest. And there's also factors where I feel like I'm 40, right? So the stuff I wanted to get done. Um, we're in a pretty good situation. Obviously, economically, things are a little tense right now, but we don't have to worry about housing. We got our house when the housing market was at a good place to buy a house, so don't really have to worry about that too much. Obviously, our property value changes would increase things like insurance and property taxes, so our mortgage changes, but it doesn't change nearly as wildly as people trying to get into the housing market or people just trying to afford a apartment. So we're good there. Um, Career wise, I'm almost 10 years into this job, which actually means I'm almost vested into Indiana's retirement thing, public retirement thing. So once I get to 10 years, essentially that will travel with me wherever I go, which is a nice bit of security, though I don't anticipate going anywhere anytime soon. But that is kind of odd in that I remember my dad working for SeaWorld and getting like the little, it wasn't that little, it's gonna be bigger than mine, getting the plaque at like 10 years of employment, and that just seeming like a very long time. And now I have worked at this place for that same upcoming on that same period of time. It doesn't feel like that because when he worked at SeaWorld, I was like 2 to 12. The amount of time that 2 to 12 is between 30 and 40 feels like way longer, probably because it is in the development. But in some ways, it hasn't felt like 10 years. In some ways, it has. So, of course, I've also worked there long enough to have 4 weeks of vacation, 1 week of personal business time, and all the health insurance and other benefits, the union mandated pay increases, which feels good. So that feels secure, even though inflation's a thing and stuff costs way more than it should. Like feel a little bit secure in the position. So we got that going for us. There are other ways at work I start to feel 40, where like the new keeper comes in and you're like, how old are you? 25? That's 15 years younger than me. Do you even know what the Chappelle Show is? Because that came up recently at work. And no, they didn't know what the Chappelle Show was. And I couldn't necessarily explain some of those skits at work, right? There's times at work where I'm like, do I want to clean this thing on the floor with the long handle brush, or do I want to like get up and down 20 times to clean this room with the short handle one? And the answer is no, not really. I want to do the long handle one, so I definitely feel the working smarter, not harder concept of that. There's also times where I look at the mirror now and I'm like, is that me? That doesn't look like me. That doesn't look like what I feel like. That is weird. That is very weird. When it comes to like interest stuff, as you get older, you feel like, um, especially after having kids, especially after having a second kid, there's certain stuff where it's like I don't have as much interest in this. I don't know if it's the marketing, I don't know if it's me or whatever, but like it feels like over the past few years, there's a few things that were like big parts of my hobby time or interests or life outside of job and everything else that have like changed, right? Like I don't play Magic the Gathering right now. If I was hanging out with my buddy Steve, I probably would, or some other friends, but like it'd be real casual. Like I don't keep up with Magic the Gathering. It seems like everything's Commander, everything's like these Worlds Beyond sets where it's like pop dolls, right? Where there's just like the merchandise for something else. Like, oh, it's a Spider-Man set. Oh, it's a Final Fantasy set. Oh, it's this. Like, that doesn't feel like Magic. Doesn't sound like Magic. I don't really have that much of an interest in that. I don't really watch professional wrestling anymore. Sometimes I'll catch a YouTube video of something that happens, but WWE especially feels like so different than what I liked and watched with it that it just doesn't appeal to me. I think the last wrestling show I watched was like the first Cody Rhodes WrestleMania where he like didn't win the title, and I was like, this is so stupid. Why did they do this? But their over reliance on certain older stars and just the general vibe and presentation of the product just like doesn't appeal to me. And like Punk, CM Punk leaving AEW left a bad taste in my mouth, so I'm like not as big on them anymore either. I'm just not as into professional wrestling, not as into Magic the Gathering. Lego's been missing me a lot recently. Like I feel that feels like a marketing thing where they're trying to appeal to the adult Lego fan, and that's a lot of like again IP stuff. Like the Jaws Lego set is really cool. It's also 150, 160 bucks. Like I just don't see it. I just don't have a desire to spend that much money or the budget to spend that much money. I'm like money that goes towards other things, but like the Lego, it's I'm just not as interested. It seems like a lot of the city sets that come out maybe aren't quite what I want. You get a couple here and there, but again, the price points are so high now that it's hard to justify like getting too much. I remember getting a couple scuba sets that were nice under a certain level. A couple like I got a somebody gave me like a donut truck. I want to say donut truck, burger truck, something for Christmas. You get like stuff here and there, but I can't say I've spent money on a big one in a while. Obviously, the Warhammer is a thing I've been getting into. The writing is still definitely a thing. I do have more of a desire to like kind of expand my reading horizons a bit with the help of the public library, so that's been helpful. But yeah, I just feel like there's certain interests that are going. Definitely interested in basketball. I think basketball kind of replaced wrestling. Warhammer kind of replaced Magic the Gathering. Writing is just, you know, definitely a consistent thing. But stuff I did now that I'm 40 or like working to 40, I did finally get a primary care doctor again. I lost it after the pandemic because I don't know, I think they like stopped booking people and then my lady was retiring, so I couldn't sign up with her again. And then anyway, got a primary doctor again, so hooray! I'm consistent with the dentist, but not necessarily the doctor. I wrote every day of fall last year, so that was me trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done that I wanted to get done in order to focus on bigger projects because again, the passage of time is ongoing. So writing every day for the entire season, I got a bunch of little stuff done, like writing a review for a Disney movie, writing a bunch of zoo blogs I wanted to write, writing a bunch of like short sci-fi story ideas that I had or were working on, and like setting those to a place where I can set those aside, which gave me plenty of time to finish the draft of book 5 in my fantasy series and actually write a bunch of book 6. So right now, book 5, I sent off to a friend of mine to read. He was actually in the Pokemon Files series. He's a big reader. I think he's an English teacher too now. But anyway, he read that. It gave me some notes, and I haven't gone back and adjusted for those notes yet. But I've read them, and they're definitely helpful notes. So while he was doing that, I wrote a bunch of book 6. And it's about halfway of a first draft, so I have a pretty decent amount of that done for something that I haven't officially completed yet, or I haven't officially completed the last or released the last one yet. I do have a desire to like try like actual publishing again. I've been listening to a bunch of Sanderson videos, and he's very helpful and very open in explaining the publishing industry. And it's been so long since I started doing this that I think it's just obvious that like self-publishing like maybe isn't the thing I want to do with these, and maybe I'm not supposed to be like the self-publishing guy like pumping out all this stuff all the time and like promoting and doing all this stuff. So I think eventually I want to try to like do the actual query process and actually go for it and actually try to get a literary agent and all that stuff. And I'm 40, so you may as well try to do the things you want to do out of life, right? I think that would involve turning the first and second books into one traditionally length fantasy book, heavily revising it, and querying. I think I have a lot better grasp on like what my series is and what it's about, having written so much of the story up to this point in time, and honestly getting close to the end in the first draft version. You know, it's supposed to be a 7-book series. We're getting there. And I think it's probably just time to go for that. So at some point this year, I'll set aside some time and like really hammer away at that. And we'll see if this 40-year-old can actually publish a book traditionally. So wish me luck there, I guess.